The NBA free agency period for the 2025-2026 season has already started, and there's one name the Knicks are interested in. That's going to be a major no-no. Hit that rock. Before you get started, make sure to hit the like, subscribe to the channel, make sure to hit the dark notification bell to get each and every notification for each and every video I'll put out there. It's your boy G Malaysia Knicks. Let's get it. So according to Ian Begley, the New York Knicks allegedly have interest in Russell Westbrook, who also has interest in coming to the New York Knicks after Russell Westbrook recently declined his player option for 2025-26 season with the Nuggets at around $3.47 million a year. Now the New York Knicks can offer Russell Westbrook, either a mid-level exception at $5.7 million a year or the veteran minimum at $3.63 million. So he most likely is probably looking for that mid-level exception because he probably wants a slight raise because he's going from one team with championship aspirations to another team with championship aspirations. Now, when you look at a guy like Russell Westbrook, there's just no way in hell the Knicks can go after this guy. No offense to him. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's been a great talent in the league, great attraction in terms of his theatrics, whatnot. He is the wrong player for the Knicks. Now, this past season with the Nuggets, he found some success as his off-ball option, playing alongside playing alongside Nikolai Jokic, Mr. Cutter to the basket. Even though his numbers still were fairly pedestrian, 13.3 points a game, 4.9 rebounds, 6.1 assists. Yeah, great. But only shot 32.3% from three. He did shoot around 44.9% from the field. But honestly, this is a guy who literally lived off of Jokic's playmaking for the most part. When you look at how he fits with the Knicks, let's be honest, Cat is not Jokic. When we talk about playmaking, Jokic can play, make, can set up, table set, facilitate, find the open guy, uses gravity for goodness for all four quarters and then some. Cat is still trying to learn where his best spots on the floor to the point where people are making videos talking about how to maximize a guy who's been in the league for about 7-8 years now. You're not making videos talking about maximizing Jokic. Jokic and Cat are not in the same stratosphere. And you also chalk up Cat is a little bit more immature than, say, a Jokic type who does have now a championship pedigree to his name. When you look at Westbrook, you also have to think about this. You're going to turn him back to being a heavy on-ball guard. Last year was his lowest usage in all of the league, of all of his career, at 23.8% usage. Now, most likely to be coming off the bench. But again, usage is usage. You want that guy being the end-all, be-all playmaker extraordinaire coming off your bench. Is that a guy that's going to be able to set the table for other players? Unless it's a fast break or it's a really open shot. And I don't think he's as, say, greedy in terms of looking for his looks. But when you take him out of the environment you had under Mike Malone, who got fired, and Jokic, who honestly, I don't know if you say revitalized his career, it's just not going to be the same in New York with guys like Cat, guys like Brunson. We talk about staggering the lineups when lineups mix, especially going to those fourth quarters. I just don't see your man Westbrook being that type of guy. And look, last season when we talk about finishing scoring, because that's what the Knicks need, especially coming off the bench, he shot 64% at the rim, which tied his career high. But again, let's be serious. A lot of those were cuts to the basket off of Jokic. He averaged around 65.8% on the field when cutting to the basket, which actually wasn't that great, ranked in the 45th percentile. And things like, look, is he still a good, decent fast break guy? Yes. But I still remember the game. Game 6, I think it was, versus the Clippers. Your man missed a wide open layup. The Clippers were down by 6 with like 2 minutes left to go. Allow them to come back and tie the game and get into game 7. It's just Westbrook he's a little scatterbrained. And I know people make mistakes here and there, but he's had several of those games where he's missed some layups, missed some easy monies. And I'll talk about it in a little bit why I think that may be and how that's somewhat of his Achilles heel, or the fact that at least is some of his Achilles heel. Again, we talk about just shooting overall. Russell Westbrook is not that guy whatsoever. His mid-range jumper is all but, I wouldn't say it's not existent, it's not good. When you talk about off the ball, which the Knicks need, especially playing with other playmakers like Cat and Brunson, off the ball, this regular season shot 33% on catch and shoots, 32% in the playoffs, 33% in the regular season. On the ball, this regular season shot 25.8% from the field. Oh, excuse me, on all pull-up threes, and then 28.6% in the playoffs. That's not going to do for the Knicks. Don't matter how much you're getting paid, but that type of usage or that reliance on you, it's just not going to work. So some other issues when I look at a guy like Westbrook, again, no disrespect to Westbrook. I like him as a person. You have to think about this way. Knicks still don't have a coach. Knicks don't have a freaking coach, right? So you bring in a guy like Westbrook, who is he going to answer more to? The coach that you brought in after him, who, if he's not a well-known name, a guy that has some cachet in the league, that comes from a coaching tree, comes from a situation, a background that people respect, even if he got fired or removed from that place, a coach that these guys are going to really galvanize around for what the Knicks are trying to make into a championship run. And I'm Westbrook, and I still want to play in the league, and I possibly want to try to build this up into another contract in the future. Who am I going to listen to? Leon Rose? Or a coach, if that coach doesn't play me and give me the proper minutes I need? We've seen this before. Now, granted, the Knicks, for the most part, have held it down. We've seen murmurings, guys like Obi Toppin, guys like Grimes, who've come out, whether directly or indirectly, through the grapevine. You hear about these guys complaining about playing time, even if their play did not fit on the court. What happens if Russell Westbrook turns to Russell Westbrick, and he's complaining about not getting enough minutes, not getting enough usage, despite the fact that he's not that guy? Given the fact that he's Westbrook and he does have some respect around the league amongst other players, they may see it as, oh, you do this to my man, my guy, Russell Westbrook, who I grew up watching, I respected. Remember, Carmelo and KP, slightly different situation. Carmelo's a better player, but that can arise in a locker room. These big, gigantic names who have a hard time dealing with the end of their careers or the end of their usefulness as a so-called, I'm going to call him a top player, but a guy who's going to get, say, 24% usage. And Westbrook, again, surviving with less than 20% usage. He's not a good catch and shoot player. Recipe for disaster. Remember, there were there was so-called issues with certain players believing that Mike Malone favored Westbrook in the Nuggets locker room. That all blew up. Malone left. Westbrook is now out, and we know Westbrook is a fiery guy. He's a guy who likes to talk. We saw the thing that happened with him in LA when LeBron was giving a hurrah speech to galvanize the guys, and Westbrook saying, hey, just have fun, guys, and that just ended in an absolute disaster. It seemed like the LA Clippers came and kind of saved them, had some resurgent play, went to Denver and had a decent season. Another thing with him too is that there's going to be a lot of redundancies between him and Josh Hart. Josh Hart, we're already paying $20 million. I'm already going to get the rebounding production. I'm already going to get I think Josh Hart's actually a better finisher at the rim than Russell Westbrook. Obviously, Westbrook is more explosive, a little bit more dynamic in terms of speed and physical ability, which I'm going to get to in a minute. But Josh Hart really does a lot of dirty work that we need from Russell Westbrook. Now, when you talk about Russell Westbrook's defense, it's just not a good defender anymore. That athleticism is not really feeding into his ability to move laterally, and it's really shut down his defenders. Now, he's a hustle guy. I'll give him that. Does a lot of things in terms of hustling, rebounding. He can get some defensive stops here and there, but giving up 118 points a game for the Nuggets last season versus 113 when he's off, 5-point difference. Yeah, it's pretty bad. And again, the one thing I want to talk about Russell Westbrook, I think is Achilles' heel, is that he can only play at one speed. His athleticism, the gift from the gods, is like a curse. Your man can only play really at one speed, so I can't trust him with the ball in his hands. The thing with Russell Westbrook is that he's never had a period where he's had to stop and truly change his game on the ball. Now, we could talk about the rebounding and the hustling, all those things that he's developed as through not being the lead guard anymore. But in terms of when the ball's in his hand, can he set up players? Can he see the game 2, 3, 4 steps ahead? I remember Shaq saying this, complaining like, bro, you gotta fix the pace. Gotta change your pace. You're playing at one speed. You can't do that. The fact that this guy, Russell Westbrook, can still jump out the gym 10 times probably more athletic and healthier than I am physically. This guy can still yam it on anybody. That has been his Achilles heel. It's the thing that made him turn from a defensive stalwart at UCLA, playing alongside Kevin Love, to a guy who won the MVP, getting those artificial triple doubles with OKC Thunder, but also led him to not being able to set up his players, get those guys better before the playoffs. Remember when Kevin Durant was out, Russell Westbrook was leading the team, they struggled. Losing the first round, guys weren't being set up because everybody was trying to get the rebounds and get these stats for Russell Westbrook and his artificial triple doubles. And that's kind of haunted him throughout his career. Not to say that I would want him to get hurt or want him to go through some path where he's going to be out for an extended period. But the athleticism has been his gift and his curse. And you bring him onto a New York Knicks team that has championship aspirations. We don't have a lot of time to tour around with guys who've been in the league for 16, 17 years like Russell Westbrook. He has to find it, right? He has to be efficient on the floor. He has to be able to fit in the spots. He has to be able to either facilitate, play make, or be able to score efficiently. And I just don't think that giving the money, as small as it is, in the grand scheme of things, given where the Knicks are, are we going to make that leap into second apron team? Is that the guy that you want alongside you as we take that leap into the second apron to win that championship? I don't think he is. I think there are better names out there. Guys like Trey Mann, even though my son Trey Mann's been hurt, can't stay healthy. And I call him my quasi-son because I liked him in the draft. I'm not going to sit up here and say I was crazy about him in the draft. Like, oh, yo, we got it. There's a guy I would like the Knicks to draft. Guys moved from OKC to Charlotte Hornets. Obviously, he's been out for a good chunk of games. Just has not been able to stay healthy, but he's flashed with Charlotte last year, putting up 14.1 points, 43.5% shooter from the field, 40% from three, for 4.6 attempts a game in only 13 games in which he didn't start one. And granted, look, you look at for most of his career, it's just not been outside of his rookie year. In the second year in the league, he hasn't played more than 50 games. But just in terms of how cheap he is, he got his option declined by the Charlotte Hornets. I think it was $6.7 million was the option that was declined. I would love to pick up a guy like Trey Mann, give him a flyer. I guess right now you can't really give him a flyer per se because you have to use a mid-level exception or use a veteran minimum. You take the veteran minimum, I'd be cooking a little bit. But to put him in a championship atmosphere under which coach, I'm not sure yet. But to have that guy who can his dribbling ability, get into the basket, his shooting ability has really taken a step up since even the days I was watching him at Florida. Trey Mann would be a healthy Trey Mann would be an absolute boost for this team. Another guy like Tyus Jones, who allegedly they've said that he had interest in coming to the Knicks last year and said he would even take a pay cut. I don't know why they didn't bring on this guy, Tyus Jones, a player who I like a lot, who got kind of the raw end of the deal with the Phoenix Suns. Averaged 10.2 points a game, 44% from the field, 41% from three off of 5 attempts. Still averaged 5.3 assists a game. And only averaged 1.1 turnovers a game. This is a guy that playing with the Grizzlies that one year where Ja Morant was out, put out some of the most fantastic, I know that sounds corny, some of the best facilitating display I've seen from a point guard coming off the bench in the league. And I was hoping the Knicks would pick him up. They didn't, but that's a guy you could bring on with the mid-level exception. And his is probably even better because he's trying to prove it. So this could be a proven situation for him. We rent him out for a year. He puts up some great numbers off the bench. He goes off, makes some money, big money elsewhere. But at least for that so-called championship run next year, the Knicks have a bench guard they can rely on. Look, I like Tyler Kolek. You gave him, I think, the second highest amount for a second rounder. But I still think he needs some time to get not just his NBA strength up, but also find his shot in the league. And there's nothing bad about you playing behind a guy like Tyus Jones who could be here just for 1 year. So to have Kolek still develop a little bit and develop slowly, don't have the pressure of having to be the first guard off the bench to lead the offense. Have a guy like Tyus Jones, I don't think hinders or hurts his progression whatsoever. But Russell Westbrook, Hall of Famer, great player, seems like a great person, not for the Knicks. Please don't bring him on to the Knicks, especially because you don't have a coaching foundation now. We don't need Russell Westbrook looking over the coach to now look at Leon Rose and say, yo, you brought me here to blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that's how he talks like, but you brought me here and this coach is not playing me. Now Leon Rose has to come and check the coach. We're all over the place. But many names are being signed so far in this free agency period. Some interesting names have been moving around. Let's see what the Knicks do. It's your boy Gmo, leads your Knicks. I appreciate you. Peace, Lou. God bless. Make sure to leave your comments at the end of the video. Leave a like as well, too. I appreciate you. Peace, Lou. God bless. I'll catch you guys on the next one.